Welcome back to the Red Dice Diaries and this GM's tips video, which is about using letters as props. Now, one of the helpful little things I've used often in RPGs is a letter written by an NPC or a newspaper clipping, but why are they so useful? Well, for a start, they give a biased view and a sense of history. Now, it's a common saying that history is written by the victors, and it's true that much real-world history carries a lot of bias based on who wrote the surviving records and who they are writing them for. It's generally not possible to know the full story behind historical events, and if our only records are written to please one side in an event, we may not get the full story. This can be a good thing in RPGs, though, for a number of different reasons. One, as a GM, you shouldn't feel compelled to tell the whole truth in your letter. After all, it was written by a person who may not have had all the facts at their command, or they may have been mistaken in some of their beliefs, and that's not even considering the fact they may have deliberately been trying to mislead someone, and this can be used to create surprises and pitfalls without straining credulity. For example, you find a map to a cave system where a smuggler buried their treasure 50 years previous. However, the smuggler had no way of knowing that, in the intervening time, the cave system had been colonised by goblins. Number two, you're sort of adding another layer to your game. The writer of a letter is an NPC like any other, so it's worth considering how you represent them in their written work. It can also be cool, if the PCs ever meet the author in person, to show how they have changed since the letter was written. This adds an extra level to your game, making it feel like time passes in the game world, even when the player characters weren't there to witness it. Even if the PCs don't get to meet the author, you can reference events or occurrences that illustrate how things have changed in your campaign world over the years. For example, maybe the PCs find a journal where an unknown noble mentions a young upstart from a relatively unknown family making a stir in the capital city. But in present day, the family of said upstart rule the city and have done so for some time. 3. They're not terribly difficult to produce. Get yourself on Google image search and look for a blank parchment picture, then drop some text onto it using your image manipulation software of choice. Hell, you can even do it in Microsoft Paint. If you're gaming in person, you can always go for just ripping some paper, handwriting on it and staining it with tea or something similar. Given how much such small props can add to a game, the time investment required is actually really very small. And 4, they get the players involved and they allow you as the GM to gauge their reaction. Don't read the letter or the map or whatever yourself when they find it. Have whichever character discovers it read the missive to his companions. This frees you up as the GM to observe them more closely and see what their reactions are to the contents. Encourage them to discuss what is in the letter and note down any particularly strong opinions or ideas they may have for potential use in future. So, there we are. There's just a few reasons why letters, newspaper clippings, maps, etc., all manner of written props can be extremely useful to your RPG sessions. Now, I'm going to put some links to some images of parchments, a newspaper clipping editor, and a few other bits and pieces I can find in the description below. Hopefully you'll find them useful, and I really do urge you, if you don't do so already, to continue using prop maps, notes, etc. in your games. They really can add an extra level of detail and interest to your campaign world. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. You'll consider clicking on like and subscribing to our channel. Until we see you next time, take care, and whatever you're playing, happy gaming.